Welcome back, everybody. Driver53 here, and today we've got a video taking a look at the pH values in your soils. And more specifically, when does the reduction in the lime actually make a difference on your yields? So what I mean is, you can see right here in the bottom right hand corner, it says the pH value is perfect at 7.000 of 7.000. Now, after you start harvesting this, that number is going to go down, all right? And I've seen that it goes from perfect to okay, and then, that's typically when I'm like, okay, I got to get some more on there. But I don't know if it's actually making a difference or not. So what I'm going to do is we're going to plant the exact same crop every single time in these, but we're not going to reapply any lime. And we're going to just harvest. We're going to harvest, and we're going to harvest, and we're going to harvest, and we're going to see how long it takes to get down to where we actually notice it on our crop yield. All right, so we got corn here. Every field that we have is corn. Let me show you the map here really quick. So what I have is, you can see 4 orange rectangles here on this map. This is the same map that I used for a lot of my other testing videos here on precision farming. Each one of those rectangles is exactly 1 acre. All right, they're all the exact same size. They may look a little bit different, but they all are exactly 1 acre, and that's what we're worried about here today. And also, whenever we come over here to precision farming, you can see that they are all 4 different soil types. We have loam, we have sandy loam, we have silty clay, and we have loamy sand. So I put corn in each one of them, so they all have the exact same. So this is going to be our baseline. And how do we establish that? Well, our pH value is right here. If we come here, we can see that we have 7.0, then we have 6.75, then we have 6.5, then we have 6.0. Those are the absolute best pH levels that you are going to be able to have on these soil types. All right, so next we come across and we are going to look at our nitrogen levels, because we want to make sure these are proper also and exactly where they need to be. So you can see that we have 200, 180, 160, and then 120. So those are right exactly where they need to be. So what are we going to do? Well, every single time after we harvest, we're going to go back out in the field, right? And we're going to look at that value to see exactly what it says for the pH value. The nitrogen, it's going to be lower, obviously, whenever we harvest, but then we'll bring it back up whenever we plant. So every single time we're going to harvest, we're going to look at it. One other thing that we're going to do every single time after we harvest is we are going to plow. I've got plowing turned on, I've got lime turned on, and I'll show you over here in the menu. You can see right here, I've got weeds off, I've got lime on, I've got periodic plowing on, I've got crop destruction off, so in case I accidentally messed up and do something, it's not going to hurt our yields. And then plant withering off. I've got growth at fast. So we're going to be able to get through this as fast as possible. Now, I have no idea if this is going to be 1 harvest, 3 harvests, 5, 10, whatever it takes. And we're going to keep going until we basically don't see any more changes, right? I figured this is going to be the absolute best way to be able to compare this. I thought about doing it with other crops too, but I really just want to stick with corn because corn gives a really high yield without having to worry about straw. So it's around 6,300 liters on loam soil, which is that one right over there. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to do a bunch of jump cuts. Where we're going to put up some charts at the end showing you all of the data. If you know me and a lot of my other precision farming stuff, I really like charts. So that's what we're going to do. So yeah, here we go. All right, so one other thing about this is it doesn't really matter where my harvester is lined up at. It's not about that. But what I am going to do is just make sure that I'm overlapping quite a bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and turn this on. I'm going to go ahead and hire a worker. And then we're good to go. So, as you see, crops going in down to the bottom. And yeah, once we get this, I'm going to record those values. We're going to dump everything off into a trailer, and then we'll start on the next one. So I will see you guys once we have all of this first round of data for our benchmark. All right, everybody. So we are sitting in loam right now. As you can see, everything is good to go. We harvested, we've already come back and plowed, and we've reseeded. I'm doing all this really quickly so that I can get through these tests, efficiently for me. But as you can see, it dropped down 0.250 points on the pH level. So really interesting there. So it went from 6.75 to 6.500. It was saying perfect before, now it says good. And what was our yield on the 6.75? it was 9,741. All right, next, let's go to Sandy Loam. Here we are in Sandy Loam. As you can see, the pH value says good, and it's at 6.375. So that's one harvest. It dropped down 0.125, not 0.250. So this one is dropping less on the first harvest. Really, really interesting here. What was the yield on this? 7,796. Now let's head over to Silty Clay and see what's happening over there. Silty Clay here, and pH value is sitting at 6.750 out of 7.000, which means that after one harvest, it dropped down 0.250, the same as Loam. So it's really interesting. The top yielding at 125 dropped down 0.25, and the 90% yield dropped down 0.25, but the 100% only dropped down 0.125. Really, really interesting. What was the yield on this one? Was 7,014 liters. 7014. So, last but not least, Loamy Sand. Really, really interesting here in Loamy Sand. As you can see, the pH value is now 5.875 out of 6.000. That means that it too dropped only 0.125. That's really interesting. The number 1 and number 3 dropped 0.25, but the number 2 and number 4 dropped 0.125. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how this plays out, and if, you know, the ones that are dropping faster get a reduction in yield quicker than the ones that don't. I mean, that's going to be really, really interesting. The yield on this one was 6,235. And what we're doing with those yields, that way I can tell exactly when we start seeing it. Because when we look at the menu, it's only going to show us every 5 percentages, right? So if we start to see something even at 2 or 3%, something like that, then we'll be able to start picking up on this. Because with the consistency of these fields, you know, I'm seeing less than 10 liters difference every single time I do these tests. I've done multiple tests on these, and, you know, with the same crops, I've been able to consistently get within 10 liters. I think that's a really, really good repeatability going on here. So once we start seeing something bigger than that very, very minor thing, we'll know that that's going to be what caused the difference right there. We're going to get the tractor off here, and we're going to speed up time and get on to the next one. And I'm not going to probably show you every single one of these. We're probably going to do a jump cut until the end. Whenever I have some better data to actually show you, hey, here's when this one actually started kicking in, or, you know, we wait till the end and they all do it at the same time. I'm not sure exactly where this test is going to end at, but that's kind of my thought process. So right now, so the next time I see you, there's going to be something important relating to the reduction. All right, so I'll see you guys in just a couple seconds. Well, that didn't take very long. I mean, here, let me show you this chart. It's kind of comical. And it's only comical because I was like, oh yeah, it's going to take a lot of harvests to be able to do this. No, but here, check this chart out. All right, so as you can see right here, we've got corn and we've got the different soil types: loam, sandy loam, silty clay, and loamy sand. We've also got harvest number 1. So what that means is that this was my baseline harvest. Okay, so my pH levels when they started, right, whenever we planted the crops, that's what the pH level was: 6.75, 6.5, 7, and 6. The yields were 9741, 7796, 7014, and 6235. And as you can see, percentage of drop is 0 because these were my base lines. Let me add this next one on here for you. All right, you ready? All right, so now we've added harvest number 2. So this is the first one where we would not have added any lime. All right, so you can see that the pH dropped down to 6.5, 6.375, 6.750, and 5.875. These are the values we just went over. Okay, so the yield on loam is now 96.94. That's not too much off, but it's like a 0.5%. So immediately you start seeing a yield drop. Really, really interesting. And it's consistent. Sandy loam is 77.73, which is only like a 30%, it says here, but I'm kind of thinking it's going to be like a 25 is what it's anticipating, because I figured it up that if this was 7779, it would actually be 0.250% loss. Next one is 6980 for silty clay. Once again, 0.48%, so a 0.5%. And then the last one down on loamy sand, 6219, which gets you about a 0.26% drop. So I'm thinking that this is designed around loam and silty clay. You get a 0.5% after one time of not applying lime, because it's going to drop down a full 0.25% from 6.750 to 6.5, and from 7.0 to 6.75. So a 0.25% gets you a 0.5% of reduction. That's not a lot. All right, it's not a lot at all, but it is a reduction right off the bat. You know, with base game, it takes 3 times before you start seeing any drop in reduction or any reduction in yield. So precision farming right off the bat, you're going to go ahead and see it. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and end this video right here, okay? Because we're already proving that you are getting a reduction right off the bat. But what I'm going to do in the next video, all right, we're going to continue going until we don't see any more reduction at all. So I don't know how many that's going to be. It could be quite a while. But that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go until you have absolutely no loss. Or no increased loss. So what I mean, like if you lose 10% in like the 6th harvest, and then you lose like 10% again in the 7th harvest, well, that's your break even, right? You're not going to lose any more yield if you continue to not apply lime, okay? So I'll go over a little bit more in the next video, but that's going to be it for today, everybody. If you enjoyed the video or learned something today, go and give me a thumbs up if you would. If you want to be kept up to date on all my latest precision farming videos, think about hitting that subscribe button. And if you do, hit the notification bell too. Have a great day, night, evening, everybody. Until next time, this is Driver53, signing off.